Good morning, magic players and card collectors of all kinds. You'll have to forgive me today. I am not feeling the best. I recorded the Dollarama Draws of Destiny the other day, and then I went to bed last night figuring I would post that video today, and woke up like this, thinking I was going to make another video for you guys based on the brackets. I was going to put it off, but then with all the snowfall, I have a brief window of opportunity to talk about it, and I figured I'd share a deck with you while I do so. So please forgive the voice, but yeah. I thought it'd be interesting to see what if you guys could guess the commander today. So I'm gonna reveal cards as we go along, and we'll see at what point you guys can guess the commander. First, I'll do all the lands. I'm not going to show the brackets or the game changers list today because honestly, I think you guys have probably seen it by now. Instead, I just want to talk about it as I go through this. So, I'm just going to go through the cards for you. And I also would love to know at the end of the video in the comments what bracket you would put this deck in. Because I honestly don't know where I would put it. And that's part of the issue that I have with the brackets. I want to say this off the bat. I like this land. I think the brackets are a step in the right direction for sure. Um, I've never been a huge fan of the power level system because I've always felt that people just basically have no reference point as to what power level is what. But with the bracket system, there's a clear structure to each bracket, and I think that's really valuable. And as a person who's most likely, I think this is probably the best land in the game, or in the deck. As a person who plays probably mostly brackets 1 through 3, I have no intentions of playing 4 or 5. Um, I feel that it's very valuable to have that structure. Now, is that structure perfect by any means? No, and everybody knows that it's not. And I mean, they've discussed that they're going to work on it and try and improve upon it, and I think that's awesome. Again, I think that this all feels like it's going in the right direction, which is great. Um, what I am concerned about is that there's still a little too much ambiguity in some of the brackets. And I'm not sure how I feel about the game changers list. Um, for many different reasons. So we'll get into that as we go through the rest of the piles. Let's start with the enchantments. See if you guys can figure out what deck this is. I'm betting that nobody will guess what my commander is before the end. But we'll see. I don't think I've ever previewed it on this channel before. If I have, it was definitely a long time ago, and this thing has gotten some serious upgrades. Like this spell. And I mean, there's a spell, for example, like extra combats. Isn't that something that's stackable? Like, that should probably be on the game changers list, but I don't think it is, as far as I know. If it is, I have to go reread it. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't one of the 2 red cards that was put up there. So, I think brackets 1 through 3 are pretty solidly defined. I like the idea of bracket 1 being a very jank deck. It gives me the courage to go build some jank decks again. I haven't built. I had some jank decks before, and I definitely have upgraded them significantly to the point that I can't call them jank decks anymore for the most part. Um, so I don't know if I have any decks that would fit into bracket 1. If I do, I only have a few. I have a ton of precons, and I have a lot of decks at precon level, so level 2 makes a lot of sense to me as well. Um, However, in my opinion, and this is where, to be honest, I've gone back and forth on this. Um, on one, these are the artifacts, of course. I like this vehicle because it lets me put +1/+1 counter on target creature, which is very valuable in this deck. You'll see later when you guess the commander. That's a hint, by the way, just to try and give you a direction to go on. So, I think that bracket 2 should permit one game changer. I think that one game changer spell is not going to break a level 2 game. And I think there are precons out there that have some of the cards that are already on the list in those precons. I could be wrong. Somebody I was talking with the other day mentioned Fierce Guardianship is in a precon. If it is, then there's at least one for sure. But I I feel like one game changer card, as long as it's not like your commander, I don't think that that will break the bracket. If it is your commander, then obviously yes. I don't think that that should be permitted. And maybe that's why they did it that way, because they were worried that they wouldn't be able to make that distinction, or it was going to be too complicated to make that distinction. I don't know, but I think that if anything, the legendaries cards that could be commanders maybe should have been on. There should have been two different lists, possibly. I don't know. Maybe that's too complicated, like I say, but I don't think it would have been. I think that that makes a lot of sense, to be honest. Not too many sorceries in this deck, just the two. But they're both pretty good ones. Same with instants. I think there's only three, yeah. Only three instants. This is a very creature-heavy deck. I do have tokens over here on the side. Not that those will give you any hints to the commander per se. Those are more in response to the cards that are in here. So any guesses so far on the commander? I would love to know at this point if anybody has a clue what this is. This is the commander over here, by the way. Ooh. I never put them in different colored sleeves, which, yeah, I know. And it does happen to me that I mix them into the 99 a lot of the times, to be honest. But I like it that the commander is in the same color as everything else, because then it feels like it's the commander's deck. I'm weird like that, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, bracket 3, I think that 3 game changers is fair as a starting point. I think 3 to 4 would have been excellent, and then having one at the lower level, or 2 to 4, where 3 would be the average, but it doesn't necessarily mean the peak. Now, I could totally go either way on that, though. I think 3 is a decent number to start with, like I say, for sure. It does present some challenges for me, because there's a couple of my decks that I think might be tier. I know there's a few that are going to be kicked up to bracket 3 just because there's one game changer in them, unfortunately. And I'm really not keen on pulling those game changers out, because I spent a bunch of money on those game changers. Not a lot in terms of regular people spending a lot of money on Magic. I think I spent like $30 per each card, but it's just, for me, at my budget, that's a lot. There's a reason I do Dollarama Draws of Destiny. It's because they're affordable. But my concern though with bracket 3 is that everybody's going to go for the 3 game changers automatically, I think, in a lot of cases, because they're going to want to be at the level that they can compete, and having only one game changer versus people who have 3 might make a massive difference. I like that card. That's a new addition to this deck. And it combos off with another card in here. I'm not sure if I've shown that card yet. Wasn't really actually paying attention as I was going through them, to be honest. Yes, I did. That combos really well with this in this deck. So, brackets 4 and 5 are where I have a problem, mainly with the brackets, and it's just because I'm really confused as to how you're supposed to be different there. They say it's a difference of mentality, but I don't honestly think there's going to be much difference at all. I think those two will just eventually meld into one. I could be wrong, but I don't want to touch any of those brackets anyways. And I don't think I have more than 3 game changers in any one of my decks. If I do, I will definitely have to go edit. But yeah. As for the game changers list itself, clearly it's too small at this point. I get why they started with a certain number of cards and kept it there, but what concerns me is the people who are going to look for ways to abuse the system. For example, I had a discussion the other day on Discord, and I'm not going to say with who or anything like that. It's just a guy I know, who is really excited because his full out sliver deck counts as a bracket 2. And I honestly just don't understand how anybody could see slivers as bracket 2. I get that their main goal is to swing out wide with a wide board, which a lot of decks at that level are. But the amount of synergy that there is between slivers is ridiculous. And then there is a sliver or two in there that let you tutor as well for other slivers. So I mean, like, it's insane that slivers will fall into bracket 2, and it just gives people, again, a chance to abuse the system and crush people who just want to play some fun Magic. And that disappoints me, to be honest. I think that's the thing that bugs me the most about this system. The opportunity is there for people to continue to just do what was happening with power levels, which was pup stomping. Now, is the solution to put more cards on the game changers list? For now, I think that's the best solution. But like, I don't want to see people get their cards banned or anything like that. I hate bans, as you know. But at the same time, if this is the way we're going to organize it and structure it, which I think is actually a really solid structure. I like the idea of no extra turns at the lower levels or very limited extra turns. I like the idea of limited tutors at the lower levels and then expanding up as you go. The game changers is a really good system. I think it just needs more added to it. For example, that I haven't previewed it yet on the channel, but it's coming in a future video. I bought the Eldrazi Precon, and I'm looking forward to opening that for you guys and showing it off at some point. But I don't see how that is fair at a bracket 2. Anyways, so that's my main concern with the bracket system. Is I think that just more cards need to be added to the game changers list to ensure the spirit of what's going on at levels 1 and 2 is maintained. With that said, I am still for putting one game changer on to bracket 2. If you have one game changer and it's not a commander card, I think that that's fair. These are the Planeswalkers. I have a few of them, all with really nice artwork. So, we're down to the commander. Have you guessed what it is? Have you guessed the theme of my deck? I'm betting you haven't. The grand reveal? So, to finish off the video, I'm just going to discuss a little bit about this deck. It's one of my favorites that I've built from scratch. Uh, I personally meant this deck originally to be kind of like a lower level deck. It's kind of crept up. I personally feel like it's a bracket 3, even though it has no game changers in it whatsoever, as far as I know. But with the way it's structured now and with a lot of the stuff I've added to it, I could definitely see it being more bracket 3 than 2. But I would love to know what you guys think. Basically, the goal of the deck is to give abilities to Agris. Agris gives the abilities to everybody else on the board, and then everybody on the board swings. So it's a lot like the idea of the sliver deck that I've been talking about, where much more limited because it's only my commander that can do it, and I have to pay for it. It's not automatic like it is with slivers. But I mean, again, how this is why I'm saying, like, I think the brackets are a great step forward. I think it's a very well organized system, and I think there's a lot of space for developing it into something even better. And I'm really excited to see where Commander goes from here. But I think we're going to have to go through some uh, sorry. I think we're going to have to go through some sludge, and I think we're going to have to go through some crap before it gets to where it needs to be. Because right now, it's still very easy for people to abuse the system that has been developed, I think. And I feel like if that system gets abused,